this live came out of the fact we were discussing, you know, what are key issues that were coming out of, you know, I'm running my brainstorms, and through this period of uncertainty, what were the issues that people kept sort of coming to the brainstorms with. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to go through some of those, and you're going to actually look at how we can use the Mind Garden and Thinklesticks to help people work through those. So the first one is, you know, a lot of people said to me, should I be trying to make money at a time like this? And this actually came up on the yesterday evening's one as well. It's still very relevant now, because it is that you don't want to be seen as profiteering, but are you in fact? So, so how would you respond to that with the Thinklestick? And
well, this is something that I personally struggled with the Right School of Dance, you know, because I suddenly found myself in the same situation as all of us, where, you know, your business just stops. You know, when the lockdown came, I couldn't make any money. I suddenly, it's trauma, isn't it? So I've spoken to quite a lot of people, and it is like a shock and a trauma, and those emotions are really, really high. So I really struggled for, I think it was about 3 days in that mindset of disaster. Yes. Okay, so I have in Thinklesticks, there's in fact, I've sent this across to you. I don't know whether you could put it on the screen. I can.
Which one would it be?
Which is the one with the ladder type effect, the first one, with the disaster. Let's see if
this works. This one here?
Yeah.
Is it this one here? Oh, it works.
It is that
there
one.
you
Well
go.
done, Tanya. Oh, gosh, that's impressive. Okay, so yeah.
So if you want to talk through that, I don't know if I can make that bigger, but
no, that's cool. Yeah, so in the initial news and the initial emotions were in disaster mode. So if you see that one at the bottom there, you know, it was huge emotions going on regarding money, in fact, because I suddenly realized that all of my salary, all of my income would be gone, because I run Wiggle Waggle as well, which is an under fives music and movement class. All the nurseries cut their contracts with me because they had to, because they were closing down. Plus I couldn't, you know, the hall that I hire closed down. Obviously everyone's locked down. Everything went in a matter of half a day or something.
Wow.
Yeah. And so my mindset, well, it wasn't even my mindset, it was all my emotions, you know, raw emotions of fear, panic. You know, it was a disaster. So I was in that for about 3 days. And then I started to kick in with Thinklesticks, and I bought this model out, and I thought, okay, I can see, look at me there, sat on the floor.
Absolutely. So you drew this at that time?
I drew it before. So this is something that I use often. So this is one of my tools, my go-to tools.
Okay.
That I use personally, and that I help other people use as well.
Yeah.
So I sat myself down and I thought, yeah, look, I'm that little girl on the floor, absolutely don't know what to do. I have no idea what to do. This is a disaster. So I thought, right, okay, I have to get myself to problem mode. I have to look at this from a different perspective. So problem mode is where you look at all the different problems one by one. So if we're talking about money, you know, what are the problems going to be? If I don't have money, I won't be able to eat. I won't be able to put food on the table for my children. You know, there are big problems here.
Yeah,
so
there would be.
And this is what people, I think, need to try to remind themselves about. You know, if you don't have money coming in, there are huge consequences to that. So looking at the problems, you can see, okay, I can see why I was in disaster mode, but I need to move forward on this because I need to earn some money.
Yeah.
So then I moved into irritation mode, which is that, you know, that rage, like, oh my gosh, how is this happening? Like, I've done this, I've built this dance school up for 19 years, and why is this happening now?
Gone. Yeah.
You know, it's all suddenly gone. And I was really cross with coronavirus, you know, and I just got it all out.
Natural human reaction, isn't it?
Natural human reaction, and a lot of people were feeling it at the time. We realized we've got to do the lockdown obviously, but all the problems that come with that and how frustrating that is. And for people who are homeschooling, how frustrating that can be, you know. So I let myself just get all the emotions out, you know. I just thought, right, I'm in irritation mode. What is really annoying me? Get it all out rather than try to suppress it. Just kind of move forward. And then you get to situation mode, which is the most effective mode to be in. It's the facts. So you have to strip out all the emotion. And this is really important when you talk about money, because I think money can be so emotive. The subject of money is emotive, and also it brings judgment.
Yes.
Okay. And I think this is what people were really struggling with, and I was struggling with in those other modes, because you're thinking, gosh, you know, I can't make money at this sort of time. You know, I can't put my dance school online and try and charge people. You know, all those different emotions.
On the one hand, you need to make money, but on the other hand, should you be doing it? And you're just stuck in the middle going, what's the right way forward? What's the right way forward?
And I think if you can get yourself to situation mode, which is, okay, this is the situation. We've got a global pandemic. That's not my fault. That's not your fault. But businesses are going to really struggle. What are other people's businesses doing? They're going online to try to preserve or, you know, indeed build a business. Okay, that's a fact. You know, so how can I apply this to my own business? But taking the emotion out of it, taking the, oh gosh, what are people going to say? You know, are people going to approve of this? Are people going to buy it? It's just, this is the facts. These are the facts. I can't go to my dance hall because it's closed. You know, that's a fact. So it's kind of bringing yourself back to that with taking all the emotion out.
And that's such an important point, though, isn't it? It's about stepping away from taking the emotion out and just focusing on the facts.
Yeah, and it's so important. And if you see there, that's the garden manager kicking in. So the mind garden manager has got her clipboard in situation mode. It's where your emotional side just has to, you know, stop talking for a minute. And the emotional side has been running the disaster and the problem and the irritation mode. But the really, you know, the strategic part of your mind is now in place with that situation mode. So then you move into challenge mode. And this is where I think a lot of us picked back up again. You know, like where you're like, right, okay, well, this is happening. So I'm going to have to get into my mindset, which is going to work for me rather than against me. But still thinking about money, you know, you've got to be then thinking about your whys. And you talk about this a lot. And I believe in this so wholeheartedly, that your why is so important. Why do you need, not just why do you need money, you know, because you do need money. I mean, it's a fact. If you don't, there are real struggles, aren't there?
Yes, there are.
So you've got those sort of needs and musts and whys about money, but also, you know, this was my business. This was the children that come to my dance school. How am I going to let them know that I'm still there for them through this crisis? And that then, as soon as I could hook onto the fact that I was doing this actually more for other people, I could get into my challenge mode.
So that's interesting.
I think in my mindset, I had to attach it to my why.
Yes. And that's why the why is so powerful. Because
so powerful, especially in uncertainty and the situation we're in now. Because I just sat down and I thought about literally my customers, and my customers are the pupils that come to the dance school and the families. And I thought about all their little faces. I thought about all the laughs we have. I thought about all the things that why do I do this? I want to inspire people to dance and enjoy dance and have dance in their lives. So the thought for me then in challenge mode is, okay, can I do this for the why?
Yes.
And at that point, I really found that motivation, the energy to get up in the morning, you know, the plans in place. How can I do this? And you start thinking, how can I do this? Rather than, I can't do this, in that emotional zone at the bottom.
Yes. Yes.
So that was really, really important for me to get into that mindset. And also then attaching the money with the why. You know,
because you still need to make money at the end of the day.
Still
but
need to make money at the end of the day. No, it's not. But I thought also to make myself feel comfortable with the situation, that I would offer, if any families had any major problems financially, like if they're self-employed like me, you know, and they lost everything, that they would just get their whole term free.
Oh, that was really generous.
So there was this aspect of me which that made it feel comfortable for me. You know, that made it feel like, okay, I need to earn money because I just do, you know. And
you do, of course. You've got to eat. You've got a family to support. Yes, you do.
But when you're in that feeling, oh, well, should I make any money from this? It's like, well, actually, you really need to, because if you can, and not everybody can in this situation, but if you can, you really do owe it to yourself and your family to try, you know. And so then once I was in challenge mode, I then started to see, because my favorite mindset mode is opportunity mode.
This one at the top.
Yeah. And this is why I loved your sessions and I love what you're doing, turning uncertainty into opportunity. Because we have this opportunity. Nobody knows what's going on. But the opportunities that have come out of this thing for the Bright School of Dance are huge, because the children are practicing at home. It's opened up a whole new idea for me of thinking, right, okay, well, when we learn a new dance, I can also add it to the online sector.
You could, and they can practice it, and they can practice it at home
through the week.
Yeah.
Like, why have I never done that, Tanya?
I don't know. Why haven't you? But again, you wouldn't. There wasn't any need. There wasn't. Is this like it's what do they call? I can't think there's a phrase, like but again, it's created a need now, and you're doing it. So yeah,
and
absolutely.
That's the same as the choreography academy that I've set up. That was like an idea that I had for maybe launching in September.
Yes.
But I thought, okay, well, this is an opportunity to trial it. You know, while the children are at home wanting to do a little bit something different, I can trial this because I've never taught it before. I've been a choreographer for however long, but I've never taught it. So this is an opportunity. So that was, again, another opportunity. And I priced it as something that I thought was reasonable.
Oh, it's incredibly reasonable.
But, you know, everyone was saying to me, gosh, the children are loving it. The children are loving it. But they still paid me for it.
They did. And yeah, we did too. Quite happily paid you for it.
And it wasn't extortionate. And I think where you're talking about profiteering is really different from giving people value.
It absolutely is. And I think I've put a post somewhere and I just explaining what profiteering was, and it was a packet of antibacterial wipes being sold for £14 when they're usually £1.50. That's profiteering. What you're doing, putting something that will benefit and help people and charging for it, and charging, you know, its value, and that's not profiteering at all. And you know, that's helping us. That gives us something extra to do in the week. So we take a lot of value from it. I just want to say here to people, if you are following this, because we're in Zoom, we can't actually see any comments or questions. So if you do have any questions or comments, please put them in the comments, and we're not ignoring you, we just can't see them in the system. So we will answer them afterwards. So thank you if you are watching, and if you've got comments and questions, please do put them in and we will respond when we can. Anyway, so and I think it's a fantastic model, and thank you for sharing that story.
It is just something that I use for all areas of life when I feel my emotions are taking over, which is natural and normal, especially in this time of stress. And so I don't beat myself up about it if I'm having a day in problem mode or irritation mode, or if I have, you know, those times I'm like, oh, this is so annoying, you know. but it's knowing, it's that awareness that you're there, and that actually this is not the most helpful mindset in the world. You know, there is a better way of thinking to actually not just improve you and your experience, but everybody around you.
Yes.